16 for a test. Itachi. They'd intended to take the western route on the journey to Hidden Rain, but the tightening border surveillance forced them further south. After 2 years of the Akatsuki picking up missions for Tsumuge Hime and the battles that followed, Rice had fallen to Frost. Hidden Frost took credit, remaining unaware Akatsuki had cleared the path to victory for them, for a substantial price. By now the takeover was drawing international attention though, and the neighboring countries were lurking along the edges, poking, prodding and plotting. Pain did not want their involvement known, and Itachi and Kisame were pulled out. They slipped out unseen by following the winding river. Their only close call was when they passed a familiar kunoichi. 2 women stood in a clearing that gave an overview of the direction Itachi and Kisame needed to go. They'd be seen if she pressed forwards. The Ambu were undercover, posting as civilians speaking herbs, and it might have worked if Itachi didn't recognize the fluidity of her movements, her watchfulness, her long purple hair, and her face. Uzuki Yugao. And notably, there were 2 of her. Itachi couldn't quite pin who was the real Yugao and which was her shadow clone. If he didn't know better, they could pass for twins. Kisame reached for Samehara, but Itachi shook his head. He didn't want to hurt yet another person who'd known and loved Shisui, and there were other options. Yugao stood, basket tucked under her arm, the other hand resting over something by her hip, hidden under her long cloak. Her eyes swept the fields, her Ambu-honed instincts prickling. Fortunately for her, they weren't sharp enough to detect Akatsuki's stealth. They chose a detour over a confrontation, crossing the border of frost and fire by the Valley of the End. Didn't think Konoha would have so many spies hanging about, Isame grumbled. They're not even stationed on their side. Konoha's keeping track, Itachi said. Doesn't make it any less irritating, Kisame said. You never know when a leaf will fall out of the trees. The air carried the scent of wet stone and river spray where the water rushed over the edge into the valley below, which opened like a cut carved into the earth. 2 giants stood facing each other across a rushing waterfall, Hashirama and Madara. Their stone faces were worn by decades of rain, their edges eroded, yet frozen in the moment of their final clash. The valley was a battlefield preserved in stone, a place where 2 men had torn the world apart in the name of peace. Itachi had never liked this place. Itachi leapt lightly onto the head of Madara's statue, Kisame landing with a heavy thud. Always thought these statues were a bit dramatic, Kisame said. The size, the poses, theatrical, you know? Kisame didn't know half the theatrics, not unless Tobi had told him who he really was. The waterfall thundered, but the sound felt muted. The mist curved around his ankles like smoke. Maybe it was the rushing water, but he couldn't hear any birds, nor insects. Itachi stepped forwards, preparing to jump to Hashirama's statue, when he felt it. A prickle down his neck, just the slightest indiscernible shift. He activated his Sharingan. Kisame noticed instantly. What is that? A pressure brushed against the edge of his awareness, like a fingertip trailing across the back of his neck. He wouldn't call it chakra or killing intent. Something lighter. He scanned the rocks, the water and tree tops, but the uneasiness didn't settle. No movement except Kisame stepping forwards. He leapt, just as Itachi caught a faint shimmer beneath Hashirama's feet. Don't! The world erupted. His Sharingan caught the outcome a heartbeat ahead. A viridescent pulse. Not natural, not chakra. Wrong. The pulsing shock detonated from deep within the stone base of Hashirama's statue. A column of white-hot force pushing through its core, fracturing, cracks racing up Hashirama's body in a spiderweb pattern, the legend tearing apart. As the shockwave hurled Kisame into the water, Itachi barely had a split second to activate the Susanoo before the pressure alone threw him off. The glowing ribcage formed around him as he was swallowed up in a trembling roar, fireless heat and crushing stone hurling skyward. Too hot and too sudden. The Hokage's stone face split down the middle. The torso caved inward as the monument gave out. The remains of Hashirama's statue crashed around Itachi in a rain of pulverized rock and ash. Shielded with his Susanoo, his eyes burning, Itachi dropped with the collapsing stone until he hit the water. He plunged into the depths, the shattered rocks sinking faster. Itachi kicked free, swimming out and away from the blast zone while cutting the chakra to his eyes. The Susanoo flickered out, bringing sweet, aching relief that had nothing to do with oxygen as Itachi resurfaced. The water bucked and rolled around him from the shockwave as Itachi hauled himself onto the thrashing surface, the lake trying to shake him off. His vision blurred, water stinging his eyes. Where did Kisame go? His gaze trailed up the waterfall. Hashirama was gone. The mountainside side left hollowed out, smoking, gaping, and jagged with brutal cavities. The waterfall was skewed off center and dust swirling, the last fragments of stone coming loose in the aftermath. Madara was left standing alone, unopposed. Haruhi. Smoke burst around Haruhi like tiny detonations, obscuring the fields. She barely had time to get her hands up and she was hit from behind, and Haruhi face planted into the ground hard enough to rattle her teeth. Sorry! Naruto yelped, scrambling off her while the remaining shadow clones burst around them. Haruhi spat out a mouthful of grass and pushed herself upright. At first, seeing Naruto spamming clones like an endless shuriken supply was impressive. Naruto had never been good with the Academy clones, which were just intangible mirages. But now he could make physical clones that cast shadows? Looks like someone has been studying. However, how easily Kakashi-sensei went through them made her less certain. Additionally, trying to navigate a sea of yelling Narutos made combat a lot harder. Sure, Naruto had a better time of it, but Haruhi was restricted. Wherever she turned, there was orange. She'd end up setting a dozen Narutos on fire before she'd ever hit their sensei. Sunlight glinted off the metal bells dangling from Kakashi-sensei's belt. The test he had laid out was straightforward and simultaneously absolutely impossible. A timer ticked down the seconds, and Kakashi-sensei had 2 bells they'd been ordered to steal from him by any means necessary. Those who could get a bell were accepted onto the team, the ones who couldn't would lose their headbands and return to the academy. The bullshitter! The man looked entirely too pleased with himself for his clever machinations. Sasuke landed beside her with the grace of someone who had not just been body-checked by a human cannonball. "This is going well," he said dryly. Naruto puffed up. "Hey, I almost had him that time!" "You almost had Haruhi." Haruhi dusted off her knees, squinting at her masked sensei. Kakashi flipped over a page, starting the next chapter. "Oh, come on!" "Ma, if you can't get a bell, you'll be sent back to the academy," he sing-songed, as if the concept for this test wasn't already ridiculous without a supposed adult adding insult to injury. "You just wait, sensei!" Naruto bellowed, fist clenched as he pulled up his sleeves. "Come on, Haruhi." Sasuke nodded towards Kakashi. "We'll take the bells." Naruto tensed, because if Haruhi and Sasuke took the bells, then what about him? Kakashi wasn't their only opponent. They were set against each other too, and Sasuke and Naruto had ended up fighting over far less. "You're not going to stop me!" Naruto promised. "None of you will! I'll be Hokage, just watch me!" "You'll get a bell? You're going to be Hokage?" Kakashi eyes smiled at Naruto. "That's a lot of barking from someone with no bite." Naruto exploded forwards with a battle cry that could curdle milk. A dozen clones burst into existence around him while Sasuke leapt up into the trees. Haruhi groaned. "Oh, for Naruto, warn us before you do that!" But she was already moving, weaving through the chaos. A clone barreled into her. She vaulted over it. Another tripped and she used its back as a springboard. A third was thrown bodily across the clearing and dispelled midair. Kakashi dodged all of them without looking up from his book. Aiming for the flammable paper, Haruhi flicked through hand seals, heat surging in her lungs. "Fire style!" A clone slammed into her side, knocking the fireball off course to scorch the grass instead. "Sorry!" 3 Narutos yelled at once. "Stop apologizing and aim!" She tried replacement jutsu next, switching with a clone to get closer. But Kakashi Sensei caught her ankle mid-kick and the world tipped as he flipped her neatly into a pile of Narutos. "Haruhi, are you okay?" "I'm fine," she lied, pushing herself up. "You're really pissing me off now!" Naruto rolled back at Kakashi, pointing accusingly. "Iruka Sensei gave me this headband! You won't take that away from me! You're gonna accept me no matter what!" Despite coming from the dead last, Haruhi wholeheartedly agreed. Since when could only 2 be accepted on a team when the village was built on 3-man squads under a captain? And the way Kakashi threatened to demote them? On the grounds Rookie Genin couldn't beat a seasoned Jonin? What was the point with the village hierarchy then? A team captain didn't divide his unit this way. A teacher didn't rig unfair rules unless he wanted his students to fail. Naruto charged off again, and Kakashi vanished into thin air like a smug ghost. Fantastic. That's what he needed now, hide and seek with a Jonin. She glanced around for her cousin, but the clearing was suddenly suspiciously quiet. "Sasuke?" He didn't answer. "Fire style, great fireball!" Sasuke's voice rang out, and she saw a fiery glare peeking through the trees. Haruhi dashed towards him. She brushed aside branches, pushing past the obstacles to the clearing beyond, and staggered. Her breath cut short, blood ran cold. "Sasuke?" The sun shone bright over his pale, stiff face. Sasuke's shirt was torn and blood-soaked, but Haruhi could see the thin line, a cut from chest to opposite ear. A clean cut. Dead? Decapitated. Like Ume. Little Ume. Everyone. Haruhi's ears rushed with blood, breath ragged, a red haze coming over her eyes. Where was Naruto? Was he also... Her eyes dashed to the trees, then the bushes. There were so many hiding places. A shadow moved between the trees, and soundless, a strapped boot stepped out of the bushes. Blood dripping from his katana, Itachi stepped over his brother's body. No. Trembling, her hands clasped tight. Release! Haruhi's expel of chakra shredded the illusion like knives slicing across a canvas, returning the grassy field into looking perfectly untouched once again. No blood, no shuriken, no Itachi, no dead Sasuke. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking, finding it hard to trust reality. It wouldn't be the first time a murderer stepped out of the bushes to interrupt a normal afternoon. Haruhi, Sasuke asked. You alright? Haruhi got a grip, forcefully pushing the massacre from her mind. Her chakra coils churned from the genjutsu backlash, buzzing unevenly under her skin. Her pulse still hadn't settled, since anger rose faster than fear. Yes. It hadn't been real. This time. No, this was just that stupid exam. It was just Hatake placing her under a damn genjutsu. She forced her breath steady as she pushed herself back into the fight. What are we going to do to get the belts from Sensei? Naruto asked. Sensei? Please. Haruhi sneered. Maybe Hatake was being more joking and laid back on the surface, but she'd been through this before with Snape and Umbridge. The Jonin was testing if they could be on his team, but so far, the one Harui wanted off the team was actually Hatake. Every word out of Hatake's mouth made bad worse. She recalled a time long ago where she and Shisui ordered their dad cook an inedible meal with a mismatch of ingredients, led by what they wanted instead of what was best for the dish. Bad orders had caused an inedible dinner. The way Hatake led subordinates was just like how Haruhi ordered her dad to his first food disaster. She could hear her mother's lecturing words even now. This is why you don't give stupid orders. You get stupid results. The difference was that Haruhi had been 5. What was Hatake's excuse? Haruhi was done with the bullshitting. She'd pay him back for that. Screw those bells. Haruhi was going to burn his blasted book. I can't be stopped here, Naruto said. I'm not going back to the academy. Unless you can get these bells, Kakashi taunted. All you'll achieve is making yourself a liar. Naruto roared, but Haruhi detonated. Liar? That's rich coming from you. He's a genin and you're a jonin making up rules like you're the damn Hokage. She snapped. Don't stand there after 2 days of bullshitting and then blame us for the shitty results of your shitty leadership. Naruto froze for half a second, stunned that someone else was yelling at Kakashi-sensei, then lit up like a bonfire. Yeah, what she said! He bellowed, pointing with both hands. You can't just make up rules! That's cheating! You're the one cheating, Kakashi-sensei! Am I? The bells chimed, a soft taunting sound punctuating the challenge. A small army of Naruto stampeded over Kakashi, keeping the Jonin busy dispelling them with frightening efficiency. Instead of scrambling through the brawl, Haruhi took the time to map out which Naruto was in the best placement before acting. Substitution jutsu, she hissed. The Naruto clone she switched with was so surprised being used as a counterbalance item it actually dispelled. But at least Haruhi had a clear shot. Aiming for the Tenketsu opening in Sensei's ear channel, Haruhi fought Demonic Illusion Death Mirage Jutsu and hurled the same mean illusion he'd used on Haruhi before back at him, designed to make him see his worst fears. See how he likes it. In a flurry, the Jonin picked up the attacking Naruto and dropped him where Kakashi'd been standing. Her genjutsu worked alright, it just hit the wrong target. No! Naruto stiffened, his eyes going glassy, unable to defend himself. What if this was the real Naruto? Kakashi struck. Haruhi rushed to complete another replacement jutsu, switching with Naruto just as several things happened at once. She landed in Naruto's place just as Kakashi's fist slammed into her chest, sending her flying, while a horrified Naruto clone leapt after her. Haruhi! Simultaneously, a barrage of shuriken came flying from a leafy canopy. The aim true, fast, powerful, and focused, whizzing past Haruhi and stabbing straight into Kakashi's face. Sasuke came pelting out of the leafy canopy while blood gushed from Hatake, and a flurry of orange appeared in the corner of her eye. A body shielded hers as Haruhi smashed into the ground. The clone went up in smoke, while the real Naruto was still out of it from the misaimed genjutsu, muttering dazed. But it's all I have. Why am I gonna eat? Her chakra surged, her magic recoiled. But when she looked over to where Kakashi had been stabbed, there was just Sasuke, kicking angrily at a wooden log with shuriken pierced into it. Replacement in illusions then. Hacking and gasping for air from the hit, Haruhi staggered to her feet. Seeing she was getting up, Sasuke eyed Naruto and marched over. Wake up, idiot! He hit the dazed out Naruto with a hard push of chakra that looked more like a slap than a genjutsu release. Sasuke? He shuddered, teeth clattering, trying to rid himself of the nightmare. Is there no more ramen in the world? Sasuke rolled his eyes. Her chakra was fraying, her magic pulsed cold and stubborn beneath it. She tried to activate her Sharingan, just enough to read his movements. pain pierced behind her eyes. Damn it! Haruhi? Sasuke asked sharply. She didn't answer. Hatake stood across the clearing, unreadable as ever. Tied at the belt, the bells chimed lightly. One of us will get thrown off the team. Sasuke turned to Naruto instead. You bastard! Naruto argued. If we don't get a bell, all of us fail! Haruhi's pulse was still thundering in her ears, but the sharp edge of fury had dulled into something heavier, something bone deep. You're going to fail, but I'm not like you, Sasuke snapped. Hey, what's that supposed to mean, eh? Naruto kept shouting, Sasuke a tense wall of opposition. The world felt too loud, too bright, too close, and she could tell the boys were about to turn on each other. Stop. She wasn't angry, not rushed despite just minutes left on the timer and the boys dissolving back into anarchy. She sounded surprisingly steady, and maybe that's why the boys halted. Naruto, bright like the sun, untested, clumsy but bubbling to prove himself. Sasuke, dark as deep water, precisely confident and stubborn. For a moment there, they'd worked to save each other, but already it was back to chaos. Where was the balance? Was it up to her to bridge them? It wasn't fair. She had enough shit without having to babysit them into behaving. That was usually the captain's responsibility. But their captain was useless, poking the bear instead of calming it, and they'd all be worse off without it. Sasuke opposed to Naruto. Blue versus yellow, like red versus green. Chakra arguing with magic. Why was everything in her life like this? Too much powder in the keg, and Haruhi the scales trying to safely balance it without everything exploding. I swear, you're like two incompatible energies, so damn opposed to cooperation, she muttered. This isn't helping, we're only getting in each other's way. Naruto pointed stubbornly at Sasuke. But he's a bastard! He got you out of my Misane Genjutsu, she countered. That dream was mean, Haruhi. Naruto shuddered, making Haruhi grimace. Yeah, it was. None of us asked for this team, but we're in it now. We need a better structure because we keep hitting each other. We should instead fight him. She nodded towards Kakashi. Not each other. Sasuke was tense. There's only 2 bells. Fuck the bells! Haruhi didn't say, but maybe Sasuke could read it off her expression. If she got those bells, she'd sooner melt them than give Hatake the satisfaction of seeing them turn on each other. It was clearly what he wanted. Fine. Naruto agreed, startling Haruhi. He could take instructions? I'll take it. Haruhi closed her eyes, exhaling as she blocked out the excessive noise. On the edge of something untested, a direction she hadn't tried. The clearing faded. All that remained was the discord of opposing forces inside her. The eyes were the window to the soul, but brute-forcing chakra through magic only shattered the glass. Like pelting rocks through a pane, she'd end up with sharp, harmful shards, treacherous to pass. Like how there were only 2 bells, but 3 overeager students. The math didn't add up. Someone always lost. Maybe that was the point. Both energies were impatient, both lunging for the same channel every time she tried to mold yin release. But the issue was that her magic couldn't hog her eyes forever. It had saved her life once, but now it had to step back and let chakra take its turn. They didn't need to break each other. They needed to bend. Not by smashing the window, but by lifting the glass. If someone as chaotic as Naruto could be reasoned with, couldn't her magic be asked too? It almost made it easier to picture her magic as tumultuous as Naruto, while her chakra was crucial like Sasuke. Haruhi exhaled. She folded the magic inward, like a bird tucking its wings before a dive. her magic buzzed. Fine, men. And curved with her breath, sweeping back to leave the gate open, allowing chakra to trickle through. Her eyes pulsed, but for once there wasn't a recoil. The two energies held each other in counterweighted balance. Chakra forwards, magic leaned back. Haruhi opened her eyes. The Sharingan bloomed to life. Steady, clear, and impossibly calm. For the first time in years, her vision didn't collapse under its own strain. Finally, she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Her left eye snapped into focus with a clean click. She could see so much better, except it was almost like her right eye lagged, like a gear catching late. For a heartbeat, the world split, razor sharp on the left, slightly delayed on the right. Two different rhythms layered over each other. She tilted her head instinctively, letting the stronger eye take the lead while the weaker one settled into place. All the while her bubbling magic held steady under the surface. Sasuke took a half step towards her. Haruhi? He reached out, ready for a backlash that never came. Across the clearing, Kakashi's visible eye narrowed a fraction. There it is, he murmured. Haruhi's Sharingan spun, slow and deliberate, as if testing the air after a long sleep. Sasuke was hovering though. I'm not going to faint, she told him. Unaware anything out of the ordinary happened, Naruto threw his hands in the air. Well, you better not. He squinted. Did your eyes always do that? Sasuke studied her face with unsettling focus, his Sharingan intent on hers. Your tomoe don't match. Huh? Your left eye's fully matured with 3 tomoe, right eye still at 1, he said, his matching 2 tomoe eyes rotating lazily. That's why it feels uneven, Sasuke added, softer. But you're holding it. Does it hurt? No, she murmured and set her focus back on the Jonin. Let's get on with it. Naruto jolted. Right! The bells! But though Naruto formed a seal to make clones, he held long enough for Sasuke to dash ahead, Haruhi at his heel. They inhaled at the same time, heat flaring in her chest. Fire style! Sasuke's great fireball roared beside her, twin spirals of flame twisting together. Kakashi Sensei didn't even blink. Earth-style Earth Wall. The ground surged upwards, swallowing the flames in a plume of smoke. Naruto's clones leapt in unfazed, coughing through the smoke as they scrambled over the wall like deranged squirrels. 20 clones went out by something laying behind the earth wall. Kakashi slipped out, bells chiming mockingly. Sasuke clicked his tongue. He's only defending. He hasn't gone at the offense yet. Yeah, Haruhi panted. Spry for an old guy. Naruto cackled. Maybe he really is 26. Kakashi tilted his head. Flattery won't get you a bell. There's only 1 minute left, Haruhi shouted. That lit a fire under all of them. They surged forwards together, Naruto's clones swarming, Sasuke weaving through openings with surgical precision, Haruhi flickering in and out into replacement jutsu, her Sharingan catching every twitch of Kakashi's muscles. Her left eye tracked him perfectly, her right blurred the edges, forcing her to tilt her head. 30 seconds left. They pushed him back, actually pushed him, forcing Kakashi to leap into the branches of a tall tree. Cowards! Naruto yelled. Strategic retreat, Kakashi corrected. Reaching into her pouch, Haruhi sent 5 shuriken flying, deflected with sharp clicks and flickers of Hatake's kunai. Naruto was about to climb up, a terrible idea, but Sasuke pulled him down as Haruhi shouted, Move! She heated her kunai, the metal glowing red hot with fire style licking up the surface. Sasuke and Naruto dove aside as she slashed through the trunk. The kunai snapped, but did enough damage the tree groaned, tilted, then toppled. Kakashi wrote it down like it was a lazy afternoon slide. Naruto and Sasuke were waiting at the bottom. Kakashi's visible eye curved. 7 seconds. Naruto lunged. 5 seconds. The Jonin dodged Haruhi's kick. 4, 3. Furious, Sasuke attacked with his last kunai. 2. Crash! Sasuke hadn't aimed at Kakashi, but flung the knife at the alarm clock, splintering it to pieces. Silence fell. Dust drifted lazily through the air. The felled tree crackled with leftover heat. Naruto's clones popped one by one like sad fireworks. 12 o'clock came and went, but there was no alarm. Kakashi sighed, brushing leaves off his shoulder. Ah, what a pity you couldn't get a bell. You said we had to get them before the alarm rang, Sasuke said, chin lifted in stubborn defiance. True. That's right, Naruto crowed. It's never gonna ring now. You've got all the time in the world. You owe me a new alarm clock, Kakashi said mildly. I'll be taking it from your paycheck. What paycheck? Haruhi asked. From your first mission. Naruto froze. Wait! The Jonin eye smiled. You all pass. Pardon? For a silent second, Haruhi checked the boys, but they were as stunned as her. Then, yes, yes! Naruto exploded into cheers. We did it! We did it! Haruhi blinked off her Sharingan. The world dimmed, becoming flatter yet more familiar, and she didn't have to keep such a tight hold of her magic either. Because Sasuke smashed the clock? She asked. But the bells were our mission objective. The bells were never the point, they're bait, Kakashi said, shrugging. What I wanted to see was whether you choose the mission or yourselves. So you lied again! Haruhi snapped, a blend of outrage and exasperation flaring. No, Hatake corrected. A ninja must look underneath the underneath of what they're told. That's just a roundabout way of admitting you were lying! Haruhi dragged a hand through her hair, pulling her damp bangs out of her eyes. First you lie about the 66% failure rate, and how the bells didn't matter either? Is there a third round in this exam you'll drop on us next? What are you doing? Sasuke hissed. He says we passed. Yeah, stop it, Haruhi, Naruto complained. Don't be such a nerd asking for more homework. But all he's done is lie, Haruhi reminded them. Sure, he's saying nice things now instead of threatening us, but why is this the truth and all the rest lies? Why aren't the nice stuff lies like all the rest of his drivel? Kakashi scratched his chin. You're a distrustful little one, aren't you? Jeez, I wonder why. In England, she had one too many teachers try to kill her. And maybe Itachi suddenly murdering their family left Haruhi with some unresolved trust issues too. Haruhi stared at him, deadpanned. Is this your first time having a team? She blurted. It did explain a lot. No. Really? She asked, tone dripping with doubt. If true, were those other subordinates happy to work for this guy after being pitted against each other and lied to for a first impression? Hatake cleared his throat. I was testing to see if you have an instinctive knack for teamwork, and you did. But what about you? Haruhi shot back. You're the captain, a pretty vital role on a team. Even when I pushed you apart, you pulled together. That's what I was looking for. Yet Hatake's voice was different now. Open, steady, sincere in a way it hadn't been since they met the day before. But then again, Haruhi had been fooled before. You protected each other. You adapted. That's what I require from my subordinates, he said, not answering what she asked. Sasuke was watching her, bemused, finding some entertainment in this. His expression said it all. Sasuke was pretty irked by the lies too, and wouldn't stop her. Her eyes narrowed in on their sensei, and he sighed. And, yeah, a team captain is important. I don't take it lightly. I don't let my comrades die. For the first time, he wasn't mocking or casual. He looked at each of them seriously. But it goes both ways, and I expect the same from you. I won't bring a team into the field who won't have each other's backs when things get tough. I won't accept a team who'd abandon their comrades, because it will get hard. It will get dangerous. But in the face of that, you'll have to stay a team. Even when it's easier not to be. Even when you hate each other. If you can't hold to that in bad times, there's no team in good either. He nodded once, final and decisive. Starting tomorrow, you'll go on your first mission as Team 7. Naruto whooped. Sasuke smirked. Kakashi brought out a bento for everyone, which proved an effective distraction for some. Yes! Food! Harui exhaled, calming down her rushing adrenaline and battle focus. Maybe there wasn't any drawbacks. She kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. Hey, I get it. Naruto tugged at her hand, pulling Harui down to sit in the grass. Teachers lying is the worst, like Mizuki-sensei. The teacher's assistant? Harui asked incredulously, completely sidelined. Yeah, he was such a traitor, Naruto said, taking out the box and chopsticks in his basket. Mizuki made up lies that sounded good but were actually bad because he was tricking me. He pretended to be nice and helpful but was hiding the evil underneath, you know? The problem is that I do know, Harui said plainly, thinking of Itachi. And I make sure I don't repeat that mistake. But Kakashi-sensei made up mean lies, and now that we passed, it's all good, Naruto insisted. Itadakimasu! Thanks for the endorsement, Naruto. Kakashi-sensei sighed, shifting uneasily. But he wasn't yelling, or being all condescending and mocking the way he'd been before. If anything, he seemed a little lost. But our academy teacher was a traitor too? Yeah, Naruto answered, swallowing a mouthful. He tricked me, set a trap and hurt Iruka-sensei. But don't worry, I beat him up with my awesome Shadow Clone Jutsu. He's in jail and I was promoted to Genin because I was so great. Harui's hands fisted. Here was another example of history repeating itself. Someone who pretended to be one thing, only to turn around and hurt those who trusted him. How had her classmate and teacher been attacked and the culprit arrested, and she somehow missed all of it? Probably the same way most of her classmates had missed the extent of the Uchiha massacre. Idiots, you're not helping, Sasuke grumbled, poking at his food. Kakashi-sensei had opened his own bento, but still had a mask on. How am I not helping? I'm saying that Kakashi-sensei isn't like Mizuki-sensei. Our former teacher was a traitor, and we didn't know before. She trailed off, side-eyeing Naruto. Did he hurt you? Are you okay? Naruto paused. Of course! I handled that bastard! What happened? Oh, I was so awesome! Iruka-sensei too, but I was really great! Naruto pushed the last bento box into her hands. Don't forget there's food! Free food! Eat, Harui, then you'll be less suspicious. Anyway, so after the exams, Mizuki, the evil scumbag, told me there was a secret exam I could take to pass. Naruto went off on a rich retelling of how he'd passed the graduation exam in the most unorthodox manner she'd heard of. She glanced at Sasuke, but he shrugged and took a bite of the rice, listening curiously. It seemed too good to be true. They'd passed the test. She'd finally figured out her Sharingan. And maybe their teacher didn't actually hate them. Weird. This isn't how things usually turned out for her. Hope felt strange, but not unwelcome. Itachi. Itachi felt the first drop strike his cheek and knew they were close. A thin, cold drizzle that barely touched the ground before evaporating into mist. Amegakuri's border wasn't marked by walls, but by weather. A curtain of rain that never let up or allowed anything to pass unnoticed. Kisame stumbled beside him. He'd been steady for most of the journey, but the last hour had stripped away the bravado. His breathing was uneven, his steps dragged, blood seeped through the fabric of his cloak, diluted by the rain. "Don't look at me like that," Kisame muttered, forcing a grin. "I've had worse." Itachi cast a glance over his shoulder. The rain thickened, each drop falling with unnatural precision. Pain's surveillance technique. They were inside the village now, safe in a way only Amegakure could offer. Itachi slowed his pace, allowing Kisame to walk slower without making it obvious. With Kisame injured, they'd been pushed to get here. Stopping to rest hadn't been an option, as neither could shake the feeling they were being followed. Though for now, they should be good. Kisame exhaled sharply as another wave of pain hit him. That blast wasn't normal. I've seen explosive tags, chakra bombs. Iwa's explosive corpse are all nutters. But this wasn't any of that. Itachi kept his gaze forward. No. Then what was it? Itachi replayed the moment again. The shimmering beneath the stone, the pressure in the air, the heat without fire, the timing. The rain intensified, drumming against the ground in a steady, rhythmic pattern. Kisame swayed, and Itachi caught his arm before he could fall. There was a flutter, a white flash passed above, and they looked up as an angel descended. Itachi, Kisame, Konan said without emotion, her sharp gaze focused on Kisame. You're injured. This happened in frost? No, Kisame grumbled. You need a medic. Konan touched down lightly on the roof's edge, hand resting on the neighboring wall as she looked down on them passing the gutter. All right, Kisame grumbled, moving forwards in measured steps, careful not to stumble. Just this once, and only because I'm leaking. Itachi followed, ready to catch him when his strength gave in, but he wasn't there yet, the rain masking the sound of their footsteps. What happened? Fuck if I know. Someone blew up the Valley of the End while we were passing through. I swear, people these days have no manners. Kisame's voice dropped to a low grumble, glancing back at Itachi. You think whoever did that is still after us? Yes, Itachi answered quietly. Kisame snorted. But who was it meant for? You or me? It detonated when Kisame was mid-leap towards the Hashirama statue, and yet... maybe it was a matter of clearing the path ahead. The attacker wasn't coming at them head-on, begging the question of why. Maybe Kisame was the target. Or maybe Kisame and Itachi together was too much for them. Maybe someone wanted Itachi alone. Me. Kisame grumbled. The universe has it out for you, Itachi. I'm just collateral. There's been weird shit happening for a while which I seriously doubt has anything to do with Frost and Rice and that clusterfuck. I think someone's hunting you, Itachi. I think they've done it for a while. Itachi took a deep breath. The rain slid down his face. The village lights glimmered faintly through the downpour, distorted by the deluge of water. Pain's jutsu washed away scents, chakra residue, footprints, everything a hunter might use to track them. It was the closest thing to safety they'd get, but Itachi felt no relief. Only the echo of the blast, recalling the wrongness in the air, feeling the anticipation of when and where the next attack would fall. Conan frowned. "We'll discuss it with Pain-sama." Itachi looked up at the rain-dark sky as a crow took flight and clasped his hands, swiftly casting a jutsu to link a connection with his summon, becoming a temporary hitchhiker, able to join the flight and see through his crow's eyes. Not a possession, though he could come with suggestions, and the crows rarely turned those down. The black bird soared out the way they'd arrived. The rain flickered off the crow's wings, the bird pushing forwards. The buildings drifted away under its wingspans, soaring out of the village. The rain eased, soon little more than a misty whisper, each flap of wings lighter, its flight faster, until it soared beneath grey skies. Itachi followed with an even, steady gait up to Pain's tower, even as a corner of his mind was flying further away, scouting beyond the rain. The crow dropped height, weaving between trunks and branches, until a shiny flicker made it swoop back, finding a safe, empty tree with enough cover to land on. Clawed talons touched onto a thick branch, hopping along for a proper vantage point. Tilting its head, the crow peered down, listening keenly. The hood of her fluttered cloak was drawn up to cover her purple hair, but she wasn't posing as a civilian anymore. Below, Yugao swung her katana through empty air in a frustrated slash, before falling into sharp, measured steps. Jaw clenched, she glanced into the trees, clutching the blade hilt tighter. She paused to listen, as if expecting a signal from deeper in the woods. Yugao? This was who'd pursued them? Yugao could have got their trail after the explosion. She hadn't been that far from the valley after all. The other option was more problematic. Had she known they were there the whole time? Caught in suspicion, Itachi barely paid attention as Pain appeared in the doorway. What happened? Itachi left explanations to Kisame because... A leaf rustled, a resonance that didn't belong making the crow's feather twitch. A ghostly, hollow ache pulsed behind his ribs, gone before he could name it. Itachi jerked at the same time the crow's head whipped back towards the trunk, but too late. A shadowy beast lunged so fast it blurred, covering too much distance in too little time. A flash of teeth and a growl reverberated through the air as the bird lurched for freedom. Its last screech cut short as the maw consumed its whole. The connection cut. No Yugao, no forest, no shadowy beasts. Itachi was back within Pain's tower, miles away, mind spinning. Yugao had followed, and she wasn't alone.